So great to see you today, Mark. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you just start by telling a little bit about your organization to sort of set the context so people know who you are.
Well, good to see you this morning, Laurie. So I often introduce myself as, hi, my name is Mark Shapiro, and I'm blessed to get to be the president and CEO of the Harry and Rose Sampson Family Jewish Community Center here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're a JCC, very much like many JCCs throughout the country. We're very proud to be the hub of Jewish life in our community. We actually have a huge portion of our Jewish community as our members and our users and our connectors. Our JCC operates out of 6 sites throughout the state of Wisconsin. We run an overnight summer camp. We have a separate site day camp and retreat center. We have a 7-acre outdoor water park for the whopping 12 days of the summer here in Milwaukee that people could be outside. And we also have early childhood education. And we're also very proud to be one of the few JCCs in the country that runs a year-round food pantry. For close to 50 years now, we have been part of trying to solve hunger and here in Milwaukee, and we have been serving people who have been challenged, whether they're homeless or just struggling to create that food justice that we all look forward to. And so, guided by Jewish values, the Jewish Community Food Pantry has been one of the largest providers of food to the homeless and hungry in Milwaukee. So our JCC is robust. We serve families from, as we like to say, prenatal until the end of their lives. And we're proud to be a part of people's Jewish journeys and their continuum. And we're a full JCC with fitness centers and camps and senior adult programming. And our JCC is strong. Over 100 years, we've been operating here in the Milwaukee community. And we are proud, and I feel very blessed to get to be the person who coordinates all of the community's investment into the JCC.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Tell me a little bit about your Culture of Philanthropy journey. I would love to hear how that evolved for you.
Well, all things aside, it's always funny for me to try and tell you how our Culture of Philanthropy journey has happened in light of the fact that you and I have had the chance to co-captain this journey for a really long time. Through the guidance of past chairs of the board who all, as they come on, decide kind of what they want their 2 years as chair to look like. Many of them began to really rise up the idea of fundraising as the future of our JCC. We can count on our early childhood education as a stream of income, and we could count on our fitness center as a stream of income. And so their idea of trying to figure out how we increase our fundraising was very much a focus. Some past chairs were focused on stewarding our donors. Some were on trying to increase our donors. And what happened is that we tried to jump in at the wrong spot. And we jumped in by trying to teach our board of directors to become more engaged by being comfortable with asking people for money. We had a wonderful guide and a book, and things went really well, except what we discovered was that asking was only one small portion of what is really the most important concept behind Culture of Philanthropy. And that was when you entered our lives. The journey of bringing you in, and I can remember specifically one night we sat down with just the officers of our board and had a conversation, a soul-searching, why are you on this board conversation? And that was a breakthrough for us. And it began to help us understand how to shift from an idea of fundraising being something where you ask people for money to culture being a culture of philanthropy. And while it is just one slide in the presentation that you and I have had the joy of sharing with probably thousands of people at this point, the true definition of the word philanthropy is the love of human beings. And when we began this journey of shifting culture, which is by no means easy in any way whatsoever, it doesn't matter if you're shifting your culture to a culture of philanthropy or to any other culture of culture shifts are hard. So the first step was to understand what it was to take a culture shift at all. And the second was to shift to Culture of Philanthropy. And as we've been on this journey for now close to 6 years, our Culture of Philanthropy is strong in understanding by our staff, strong in understanding by our volunteer lay people, And most importantly, strong in the understanding of our donors who invest in our JCC, and they have a raised expectation. They expect to be treated well. And meeting their expectations has become one of our joys and one of our challenges, but our culture of philanthropy is strong today. It took a long time to get here. You've been my partner in almost every step of that journey. So that's been our journey. And I think that's the shortest version of that journey I've ever delivered.
Can you tell me, Mark, what some of the best outcomes of building a culture of philanthropy have been for you and your team and your organization?
I'll be crass about it. More money, more resources. I am going to be crass that it is hard to, that at times, don't lose sight of the fact that building a culture of philanthropy, while it does tremendously wonderful other things, the resource that almost every nonprofit finds as the single most valuable that it is short of and needs is money. And building a culture of philanthropy and an investment in it has dramatically increased our dollars. But it has also dramatically increased our volunteers. It has dramatically increased an emotional sense of connection to our board members. I can tell you that we have just recently looked at the fact that we are averaging about 84% board attendance at every single board meeting right now. That is an enormous jump from before we had culture of philanthropy as a component of what we do. We have built a bank of stories, important anecdotes that then can match up to what I think is the single most important change that we made, which is to not just have anecdotes, but to have data to prove the impact of people's investments. So a combination of knowing now the data points of impact, the great stories to prove the impact in an emotional and thoughtful way has caused our donors to feel very well stewarded and to want to consistently reinvest in our JCC. Our Culture of Philanthropy department now has its own standalone committee of the board of directors. We have now grown to 4 full-time positions. When I started as CEO about 14 years ago, we had 1 half-time position in the fundraising world. And every one of those positions is more than funded through the work of our Culture of Philanthropy department. Plus, in these COVID times, when our revenue streams, like our fitness center or our early childhood program, or for any nonprofit out there who has a strong revenue stream that may have been negatively impacted by the COVID shutdowns, we then began to rely on our culture of philanthropy to cover those lost income as much as possible. And we were ready for it. We were able to build an emergency campaign in under a week and launch it and set a goal of raising $1 million and then achieve raising more than our $1 million goal in less than a year. Had we not started 5 years ago trying to transfer to a culture of philanthropy department, we would have been scrambling. So that's really some of the examples of very specific examples of outcome. Board engagements, learning to gather data more strongly, tying data to stories, and ultimately raising more money.